Picture this. The President of Kenya, Dr. William Ruto, steps into Parliament to deliver the much-anticipated State of the Nation address. The speech was a mosaic of promises, plans, and progress reports, but it left us with more questions than answers. A one-hour roller coaster that left the Kenyan public craving more insight into the nation's current state. Buckle up. We've got the exclusive analysis you've been yearning for. What exactly is happening behind the scenes? Join us on this analysis as we dissect the 5 key areas that demand a closer look. 1. Hustler Fund. The president mentioned that the fund had disbursed upwards of $3.6 billion, has saving of $2.3 billion, with $7.5 million as repeat borrowers. A top borrower was an individual who had borrowed $4.5 million using 816 transactions. A couple of questions then arise. The $4.5 million borrowed would translate to around 12,000 shillings a day. How were the limits raised to account for these transactions? What was the repayment period and turnaround time to accumulate consistent borrowing that achieves 4 million shillings? On the savings, where is the saving going to? Where is it deposited? Does it earn interest? Can you access it? 2. Fertilizer subsidies and the shame of hunger. The president talked of a government fertilizer initiative that translated to prices coming down. He also mentioned well over 18 million extra bags of maize to be harvested this year. However, it is not clear on the government's position on other food products and how that would affect food security. The farm-to-plate conversations were assumed, considering that the cost of fuel impacts the whole value chain. 3. Cost of living and the price of unga. The president provided interesting but unfortunate information, with pricing not commensurate to the realities. For example, he mentioned a gorogoro to be between 60 and 75 Kenyan shillings. This assertion would translate to 2,700 to 3,274 Kenyan shillings for a 90-kilo bag of maize, which is not the current cost in Kenyan markets. The government of Kenya, through the National Cereals and Produce Board, NCPB, is offering to buy a 90-kilo bag of maize at 4,000 Kenyan shillings, which is still lower than the anticipated 5,000 shilling plus amount. So, how do the farmers cover the difference? 4. Public borrowing. It would be fascinating to understand the thinking within the GOCA. The structure of public debt shows more than 10.5 trillion as debt as of August 2023 CBK values. Even as the president calls for a reduction on wasteful spending, on a budget of 3.68 trillion, it has supplementary requests of around 200 billion shillings within weeks of the budgeting process. With reduced revenue collection and an expensive borrowing, how is the Gov managing the new expenditures? The government seems to be reducing the development expenditure, but the president misses explaining how it plans to move out of the hole. What about planning and projection issues? Do we have a challenge in that regard? 5. Debt payment. While not included in the written speech, the president seemed to be translating the Kenya shilling to US dollar using an interesting foreign exchange rate. Instead of $300 million USD representing 45.6 billion Kenya shillings, according to central bank rate, he equates it to 500 billion Kenyan shillings. Should we be worried that this is how Kenya loses money in arbitrary exchange rates? For now, let's wait for the legislature to ponder and ruminate on the speech. Think about the 5 points and see you in the next video.